Welcome back to part 2 of the Day After Tomorrow review, and I'm picking up where I left off. So, he's a climatologist. Jack Canfield is a climatologist. He went and he did his lecture, and it's a major rainstorm that's happening. But there is things that are happening on multiple different coasts of the world that are starting to show a revelation that what he was saying in his lecture was actually beginning to happen. He is living in, I'm not sure what his main city was, but they're in their main city and it's a major rain storm. Lord help me as I formulate this to your desired degree. But what I'm gaining wisdom of, for those of you that watched my review on The Witch Hunter, you remember that in the beginning I talked about the fact, it may have been the first or the second part, where I talked about the fact that the husbands were in the middle of a storm. When you see a storm crop up, 9 times out of 10, that is potentially a physical manifestation of what's going on spiritually. Think about what happened to the disciples when Jesus was on the boat. Jesus was in the base of the boat and he knew what was going on, but he was not allowing the winds and the waves to tossle him. He was sleeping. A lot of us right now, there is something going on spiritually that our lives, we are seeing a shaking, winds, waves, so on and so forth. We are seeing storms. Even on this day, it is actually dreary because it's supposed to rain. There's supposed to be some severe thunderstorms later on this day that I am recording this. Why does this happen? God will have a physical manifestation that he desires to bring forth into your life. Let's talk about the book of Daniel. But in the midst of him desiring to bring the physical manifestation of what it is that he wants into your life, there is levels spiritually for what is in heaven to be brought down on earth. And do you think Satan wants that? Because remember, Satan is a principality of the air, and he has full control over the earthly realm. So he believes. But God gives man the decision to choose to walk with him and to pull heaven down on earth. So as long as God's people are walking the earth, that there will be a manifestation of God's will on the earth. You understand what I'm saying? So with that being said, that if you as a child of God have been in prayer, there is a spiritual fight. Something's been fighting for a level of balance that it doesn't want to see God's will be made manifest. Look at the book of Daniel. When Daniel went into consecration for those 21 days, the answer was released the first day he prayed it. But there was a what? War in the spirit. If you go back and look at Revelations 12, do you remember how that the angels were fighting in a war in the spirit realm? You had the snake-like spirit of Levi. You had the angels fighting. You had even the woman who had given birth, but she was driven into an isolated space for her own protection. Some of y'all in isolated spaces wonder why God hasn't put you on the platform. He already done told you, but he got you working on the backside of the mountain. You wondering why? Because you're the woman in Revelations that gave birth to something that the enemy is trying to destroy. So God's like, I need to put you in a quiet place, in a hidden place. Doesn't mean you're not in the season that you're supposed to come out, but in some cases, if you look at that entire scripture, that woman was put into isolation, pulled out of isolation, put back into isolation. And if I'm not mistaken, when they tried to drown her out again, they put her back in isolation the third time. God is trying to protect you from the storm. But there must be a storm as a physical manifestation of the spiritual. Hear me what I'm saying. It must be that physical manifestation of the spiritual war. We get frustrated and angry because every time we go into spiritual consecration, we come out and end up in a fight. We like, why am I fighting? What is the wait? Why? Because you're seeing the physical manifestation of God pulling that thing down from heaven into the atmosphere. You think Satan want that? The Prince of Persia fought. They had to pull in angels. Archangel Michael, one of the most powerful angels in the realm, to come and deal with the Prince of Persia. Why? Because they didn't want to see. But you think that you think it was peaceful that day? No, it was a storm. It was a storm. So in the film, it was raining. These rains, in your case as children of God, you're going to see the rain of blessings. But the enemies are being prepared to see a rain of judgment on them. I did a word